I'm waiting until I see us up. Are we not? There we go. Great. Good evening and welcome to the December 4th, 2024 Select Board meeting for the town of Ashland. We apologize we're starting a little late. We had an exec session that needed a little more time than we had given it. So welcome. This is potentially our only full meeting in December, but we have a lot to do and we're going to get right started with, actually, before I do citizens participation, I just want to take a note. I'm sure many of you are aware that Steve Eulis passed away about a week and a half ago. Steve Eulis was the owner of Fireflies. He had been a resident of Ashland for many years. He has done a lot for our community. He was instrumental in the new cable station that WAC has. While he was their board. He gave to many organizations in town, supported fundraisers. I remember him bringing one of his first trucks to a fundraiser for our current high school. He's done many things at our school, so I just want to send my condolences to his wife, Amy, and his daughters, Rachel and Carly, and anyone else who might have been impacted by Steve. There is a scholarship being set up in his name for his alma mater, and that information is in his obituary. Thank you. But again, I just wanted to make that recognition because he was a big part of our community for many, many years. On that note, we're going to go into citizens participation. If there's anyone here who'd like to make a comment before we have our first scheduled appointment at 7:15.
Okay, so that gives me 3 minutes.
Yes.
Mark Tassoni, 119 Main Street. Happy after Thanksgiving and before Christmas. And hopefully when this snow passes by, you'll be quick and easy to take care of. I'm waiting, looking forward to this coming Saturday. The town's going to open up for the Christmas cheering with this holiday stroll. And the businesses are opening it up. I saw on the town manager's website page, the dates and businesses, that the town is going to be the holiday food cheer, hopefully. The other thing I saw was the town manager's newest podcast that came out in late October. Still wanted to try to get myself on there. Yeah. When I was looking at it, it was an hour long.
We had a lot to talk about on that one.
It was all Beth.
It was all three of you. It was equally decided that each person takes so much time and talk about what the town is and how it was. I'm also appreciated with the Comprehensive Plan Stage 2 that I am saying thank you that I'm on that list. October 16th at 6 is that first meeting.
December 16th.
December 16th, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
And other than being such participation, going to all these meetings all these years, it's just like in the program Good Times, I'm finally moving up.
There you go.
So have a good Christmas coming up and a good New Year's. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Okay. A vote to close the tax classification hearing. Michael, you want to take us through? I don't think we have to do too much except vote to close it, but.
Yeah, you don't have to do too much other than the vote to close it. I will, I don't know, some of you that's been on the board for a while, if you remember, you used to have to sign the LA5. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And so DOR had done away with that requirement. It's unclear whether they have reinstituted that. I was going to talk to Brittany. Brittany's away this week, but if I do need to have you sign that, I'll find a way to get you the document for you to sign. But
I know where we all live, so you can find
yeah,
us.
I can find you. And just for those of you that don't know, LA5 It just acknowledges what's known as the excess levy capacity. So just what is being, how much additional levy capacity you have over and above what it is being taxed. Don't get your hopes up. It's not much. It's like, I think usually if it's anything, it's around like 28K or something. So, but anyway, that's just with regards to that process.
Okay. Before we take that vote, any questions, comments, concerns based on what was in our packet?
Good.
No? Okay, if I can get a motion to close the tax classification hearing.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Okay, any other discussion? No? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And that passes 5-0. The classification hearing is closed. And am I right that I'm seeing a tax rate of $12.77 per thousand?
Yep,
$12.77 per thousand. Okay,
went down again.
yeah,
So,
but values keep going up, and yeah, and we can only do the 2.5%. So, okay, great. Moving on, we have Carl Hackinson, and we're a little early, Carl, but since you're here, we'll just jump right in if that's okay.
Evening, everybody. Good to see you.
Hey, Cal.
In short, I'm here this evening to ask for permission to spend some money from something called the Warren Woods Reserve Account, which needs the approval of the Select Board in order to tap into that account. But I'll give you a little bit of background for the benefit of the record and benefit of anyone watching, and if any of you are unclear on this. But when we purchased Warren Woods, we had a gift account set up that comprised of a donation from Northeastern University, donation from Audubon, Mass Audubon, and a donation from a later donation from the Green Company when they were doing the lanterns at Warren Woods. And make a long story short, it went into one gift account. It was then split up into several different accounts, and now it's back into two accounts. One is called the Warren Woods Perpetual Care Account, and that has between $250,000 and $300,000 in the principal of that account, and that money is invested. And our expenses at 22 Elliott Street and at Warren Woods are paid from the interest accrued on that account. The other account, and those expenses at this point, when we first started at Warren Woods, we had more expenses because we were fixing things up. We had to pay everyone to do everything, and we're very much more self-sufficient now than we were then. Mainly because of the tractor that we got and a few other tools that allow us to do the work ourselves instead of farming it out. So the expenses that are paid for from that account, for the most part now, are just the oil, the electricity, and the water for the house at 22 Elliott Street. And they are very minimal because there's not much going on there in the winter. And in the summer, we're not using that much anyway. So that's pretty much taking care of itself. We don't see anything on the horizon as far as changing that substantially. Over the past few years, we were able to put a new roof on that house, paint the house, put a new water heater in it, put a new furnace in it, put a new oil drum in it, a new bulkhead, and a new porch, and repair the chimney. So that house should be in pretty good shape for some time. Shouldn't need any major repairs. The other account we refer to as the reserves account, and that's the account that I want to address tonight. That account has between $336,000 and $337,000 in it, and we don't touch that account. These accounts are set up to take care of Warren Woods and the area at 22 Elliott Street in perpetuity. And we're trying not to touch those accounts. But the practice in the past has been if we do, and I believe it's only happened once. If we do tap into that account, that it has to be approved by the select board, which is why I'm here tonight. The prior purchase was a tractor that we purchased about 3 years ago. It might have been 4 years ago now, which was it was an expense, but it's been a game changer for us. If you remember, we had an old tractor that we still have that's 70 years old that we rescued from the trash heap over at Warren Center. Took a couple of years to get it going, and it's the original tractor from the Warren farm. And it's nice to have it, but Greg Wantz is here as well, Greg from the Land Stewardship Committee and the chair of the Conservation Commission. For a couple of years, we spent as much time working on the tractor as we did using the tractor to work. And so it works out a lot.
It's paid off, Carl. It's paid off.
Well, it has paid off. But it's nice to know that it's a backup instead of leading off. So that was a game changer. That tractor also helped us out over at the Valentine Estate a couple of years ago. So when we purchased Warren Woods, we used CPA money exclusively. And we took it out of the open space bucket and the historical bucket. And when we wrote the conservation restriction, there's a section in there that deals with the historical aspects of Warren Woods, which fulfills our obligation under CPA to use that money for historical purposes. And because there are very few structures there, most of that historical application had to do with the hay fields and the stone walls. And so our purpose was to bring it back to its, I won't say its original setting, but as close as it was when the Warrens owned it. And so that meant renovating or restoring a lot of fields that had just kind of gone to hell over the years because they were untended. So over the years, we brush hogged all the fields. You may remember this, about 10 years ago, we plowed and harrowed the fields and planted new seed there. And so that's all been relatively successful. Over the years, we've been able to mow the fields ourselves, but haying has become an issue. And the hay fields are part of the historical aspect. And so we've always been dependent on someone else, some of the other farmers around here, which are few and far between, to hay the fields for us. We can mow it, but we didn't have a baler. And the hay fields should be cut often, and they should be cut early in order to produce good hay. So our hay is always kind of questionable because it hasn't been cut often and early. We can't cut it until July 1st because of our conservation restriction to protect the ground nesting birds because it is conservation land. So we would like to start cutting right after July 1st. It's the best for the hay, and it would give us an opportunity to cut a second time in the late summer or the early fall and double the yield from these. And it's good for the health of the fields as well. We haven't been able to do that. Last year we hayed in August. This year we hayed in September, and it's just too late. So we thought that our missing link is a baler. We have the labor and willing to do it. When we planted the hay the first time 10 years ago, we kind of made it an opportunity for people to come out and view what was going on. And it was a pretty nice day. I don't know if you remember.
I remember it. I don't think I was there at the day, but I remember it being planned, and I think
Yeah,
I
it was
actually
kind
got
of
to
a
sit
nice
on the
event.
tractor at some point. So
And we thought that, going forward, whenever it was safe to do so, that we would involve any of the public that might want to be involved, whether they're involved historically or involved, either scouts or something like that. Again, that would have to be fleshed out as to what's allowable, liability-wise and things like that. But because it is an ongoing, or it's the return of an ongoing practice in Ashland, because they always did hay those fields, we thought it would be something that would hopefully survive Greg and my tenure at the Woods. And we would be able to do that by purchasing our own mower, or our own baler, I'm sorry. And so the balers, we looked at new ones, we looked at used ones. I'm apprehensive about buying a used one because you just don't know what you're getting. And because we spent so much time working on the tractor, we don't want to spend the rest of our time working on a baler. So we were looking to buy a new baler. And that would set up the current stewardship committee and future stewardship committees for many years going forward, between the new tractor, the mowers that we have that are relatively new, and a new baler. We understand that there's a whole process that we would have to go through, procurement process to do that. So we haven't gone shopping yet, other than we have found what's available out there, and a relative price range of what's available for us to purchase. And so what we're looking for is something in the neighborhood, what we're looking at actually, is something in the neighborhood of $34,000 for this baler. And as I said before, we currently have $336,000 to $337,000 in that fund. We don't have any plans to tap into that fund for anything else, and we think that it would be beneficial to the fields. It would be beneficial, I think, to the town historically for us to continue to perform these practices at that part of the town. So that's why I'm here, and that's what we're asking permission to do.
Okay. Questions?
And
Yeah,
be
I'm
happy
sure
to
people may have
answer any
questions.
questions.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Claudia.
I have a couple of questions.
Mhm.
Carl.
Hi, Claudia.
So, yeah, I have a couple of questions. So first of all, those two accounts, that money is, can only be spent for Warren Woods?
Exclusively, yeah.
Exclusively,
The,
right.
the majority of that money came from Northeastern during the purchase and sale agreement. And in the purchase and sale agreement for Warren Woods, it stipulates that that money can only be used at Warren Woods.
Okay, and the only way that that money, it doesn't get donated to or anything else, it's just whatever, it only increases by its ability to gain interest?
You'd have to ask Michael that. I believe the reserves account, that's true. The perpetual care account is invested in the stock market. And so that kind of goes up and down. But for the most part, other than the first year of COVID, it's gone up.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think there's any, anything that precludes someone from donating to
Right,
that account, but
But
right
typically,
now,
that's not what
yeah,
typically happens, okay.
yeah.
But consistent with that, and something I didn't mention, is that we have an account outside of the town account. We've done some fundraising outside of the town government. And so I won't say it's minimal, but it's nowhere near what's in these other accounts. And we use that money to repair the tractors and buy the gasoline and anything that we need to do that we don't want to have to come down to bother the people in town hall to do. And so that's paid for outside. So we have that little account as well.
Great, okay. And I am going to hone down to the tractor itself, but I kind of needed these other questions answered to. And then in terms of, you said basically right now the costs associated with the property are oil, water, electricity. And what's the actual, roughly speaking, maybe the actual number that it costs to run it over the course of a year?
Well, the water bill is whatever a minimal water bill is for the town. I believe that's quarterly. The oil bill, we have a quarterly delivery, but we don't have that much oil. We every April we get the furnace cleaned, and I would say that we probably spend $800 on oil over the year. Furnace is like $300 to get cleaned. The water bill is whatever a minimal water bill is, and the electrical bill is about $25 a month.
I wish mine was that. And so because you mentioned that one of the accounts actually, it's just the interest that's paying for the annual bills on that.
Yeah, and anything else that may come up, As I said earlier on, when we were doing all the work there and we were farming it all out, a lot of it was coming from the interest of that account.
Right.
But we don't have any real, at least in the near future, any
big projects.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think one of the things I think about too in terms of this is what does it look like going forward? And, and maybe that's not a discussion for this evening, but how do we maintain it? What about when, you're volunteering right now. What about when you're no longer volunteering? How would we expect this property to be kept up?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And it's something that as we get older, we're thinking about too,
I bet, yeah.
We love working there, but we are looking at how to make that sustainable. We would like to make it sustainable through volunteer efforts, but one of the reasons that we've talked about not tapping into these funds anymore is to try to build them up in case when we're not available that we may have to hire
People
landscape
to do
people
things.
to do the work or something
And
like
so is it typical that a property like this would get hayed twice a year? Is that what I
It
read?
is. Most properties, most farmers, there aren't a whole lot of farmers left around in
Right.
eastern Massachusetts, but they start cutting in June, and we can't cut in June.
Because of the, yeah.
So we're set back a little bit. So sometimes on a good year, you can get 3 cuts in, but it is the usual that you get at least 2 cuts in, but it's weather dependent too. 2 years ago, it just rained all the time,
yeah.
and it was really it was impossible.
And what do we do with the hay once it's
Well,
baled?
right now, we give it to the people that bale it. And how that started initially was the first year that we had hay. Eastleigh Farm had one of their barns collapse in a snowstorm, and was what? Oh, and we're looking for help. And we said, well, if you bale the hay, you can have it. Because we needed, at that time, we didn't even have mowers. And so in order for the fields to thrive, they have to be cut regularly or they get weedy. And so that happened for a few years. Then we had a couple of years where we got another farmer from Holliston to come in and bale it for us, and we sold it and put that money in that other account that I was telling you about. And then the past 2 years, it's been Eastleigh again. But the farmer from Eastleigh, it's amazing. He's 78 years old, and it's like a one-man operation. It's to watch him do it. But it makes us look young. But
Yeah.
he's still doing it, and it
Good
probably
to hang around with people like that.
keeps him young. So, but the answer to your question is we would have to decide that, what's an appropriate use of the hay.
Yeah.
Because we got, the year that we cut it ourselves, we got 400 bales of hay there. And so if we cut it twice a year, it would be twice that. So that's pretty significant.
So, would it make sense to make an agreement with someone and have them come and bale it so that it isn't something in the future we're looking to, when you get tired of doing it, or other volunteers,
It's very difficult, Claudia.
to
It's-
find somebody that would do that?
Yeah, just around here. 30 or 40 years ago it wasn't.
Right.
But now it's hard to find even this equipment now, never mind somebody wants to do the work.
Right.
Central Mass and Western Mass, it's a little bit different, but around here, it's very difficult. And then you have to wait for them to get there. And because, like Eastleigh, most of his hay is from fields not on his farm. And so he has to move his stuff all over the place in order to get it done. And it's weather dependent. And then and we're trying to manage the woods, not knowing when he's going to show up. Do we mow this? Do we wait for him to hay it? And it's just kind of a pain in the neck for us. So I think that when we first started doing this 10 years ago, I asked the same question. I said, why don't we just get somebody to come in here? And it wasn't that easy, you know.
Yeah.
It just, that's kind of lost art in this part of the state. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and the other option is to just mow it,
Well, we could just mow it.
but then you
That's-
lose the
but-
historical
Exactly,
significance
yeah.
of the.
And also, if you just mow it and let it sit there, it's not as healthy for it, right?
Right.
Right. If you're gonna grow hay, you want to cut it and get it off there
And you-
so that new hay.
I don't
Well, if
know.
you're mowing it, at that point, you're not growing hay, right? I mean, you're mowing.
But you don't, if it were a hayfield, you wouldn't be mowing it every week.
Right.
You'd still mow it a couple of times, and then it would flop over
Right.
and lay on top of the ground.
Yeah.
And because, I don't know if you noticed this year, maybe you don't go by Warren Woods this year, but it was hayed last year. And this was the nicest looking hay crop that we had since we've been haying. The problem is, it looked nice in July, it looked not so nice in August, and it was really weedy by September, and that's not healthy for the hay.
Okay.
Any other
So
questions?
I would like to pass this on. There's got to be somebody else that likes doing this stuff besides Greg and I, that have
There's at least one other person.
that have functional backs and a few more years to go, because it's good work. It's a lot of fun, and it doesn't really feel like work. And I think that there are probably people out there that would be interested in
Well,
that.
and there's been a little bit of a resurgence, I think, in farming, right? So,
Well, and I also think the idea that you had of making an event of actually haying and talking about it, you could potentially get new volunteers to come in who are interested, who could learn, who could be working with you, so that when you're ready to step off, you might have other people that are there.
I agree.
Yeah.
Did you have another question, Claudia? or-
no, I was going to just say about, in terms of trying to engage people in it, it is kind of, it's part of our history. It's part of not just Ashland's history, but really Massachusetts history and beyond. And so it would be nice to, find a way to maybe bring kids up there and give
It
them.
is. The Open Space Committee did a tour there last year, and I led the tour. And I never know what to expect with those tours. If people are going to be falling asleep or saying this is the worst idea I've ever had. And it was really a lot of fun. And people were as interested, if not more interested, in the history of the whole area
Right.
as they were the ecology of the whole area. And
Yeah.
so I think that's, I think it's important. As some of us who were around when we bought Warren Woods think that everybody knows the story. And being on the Comprehensive Plan Committee, I realized that a lot of people don't know the story. They think Warren Woods has just always been there. And it hasn't. I mean, it's always been there, but it wasn't Warren Woods.
Right.
It didn't belong to the town, and there hadn't been this resurgence in interest in it ecologically or historically.
Yeah, it would be nice, maybe you should be a guest lecturer in school, either the high school or middle school, or
Well,
that would be fun.
I'd be
As
willing.
part of that third grade project where they have to go do things around
Learn
town.
about
Hey,
Ashland, yeah.
the funny thing is I got drafted into the third grade project last
yeah?
year, except I was doing Ocean House.
Oh.
And I was scared to death. And this is what I do
Rightfully
for
so.
a living, and I was scared to death. And it went wonderfully.
Good.
It was really a great experience.
Nice.
It's a great age group.
Yeah, it's fun.
Any other
Other
questions?
questions?
That's
Go
good
ahead,
for me,
Randy.
thank you.
So thank you. I appreciate sort of all the history, because I know bits and pieces, but it's kind of good to
Yeah, you
to
weren't
hear
sitting
all of
here
it.
when all
No,
this was going down,
no.
so yeah.
And thank you and Greg for doing the heavy lifting, literally and figuratively, because it's a lot of work. And I think we all kind of take it for granted that Warren Woods looks as great as it does, and you guys do a lot of work to keep it that way. So
Well,
thank you.
Brandy.
I did have a couple questions. I was kind of piggybacking on what Claudia was asking about. You know, what the final, like when you guys do bale the hay, if it's sold or donated, or sort of what that process looks like. I mean, I would be interested, because if Eastleigh Farms has come to bale it and they take the hay, now we're going to be kind of figuring out what to do with the hay that you guys are baling. So I would be interested to kind of hear what that end result kind of looks like, if you're going to, you know, if maybe it's a donation to local farms like Eastleigh, or maybe it's, you know, I don't know what the
Sale
market
to
is.
farms,
Yeah, I don't know what the market is for hay. So,
Yeah, there are a lot of options. During COVID, for instance, Southwick's came across hard times because they had to close, and they've got a ton of animals over
Right.
there that eat hay.
Right.
So, you know, that's a potential market for it. It's not something that we've really fleshed out, because we've had this agreement with, I got a goat farmer that bought it the last time we baled it. So it's out there. We don't have anything etched in stone. At this point, we want to
Okay.
make sure that we can actually do it.
Right,
And
absolutely.
we
Yep.
have, I don't think it's going to sit over there and rot. I'll
Right.
guarantee that.
Yeah.
So it could be Eastleigh, it could be other people, it could be people in town that have livestock or something.
Okay. Yeah, no, I, you know, my brain was just kind of thinking through things, you know, even like what Natick community, was it Community Farms?
Yeah.
Natick Organic Farm,
Yeah.
Community Farm, yeah.
So, you know, just thinking of other organizations that maybe we can help support
Yeah.
in some way, shape, or form. It's
Yeah,
a
and it
great
would be
idea.
better hay then. The hay that we're getting now, as I said before, is not bad, but it's not great because it's too late.
Yeah.
So if we could cut it when it should be cut, it would be a better quality hay too.
Okay. And then my only other question is really, I assume there's place to store the baler, like to keep it out of the weather?
Yeah, right now we have, everything is sheltered either in the shed
Okay.
at 22 Elliott or the red shed. And we share the red shed with DPW.
Okay.
They have some of their cemetery stuff over there. We have a good relationship with them. We got together and cleaned it all up so that there's room for everything in there. So it will be stored inside someplace.
Okay, that was my only other question,
Okay.
so, thank you.
Makita or Joe, any questions, comments? You're good, Makita? Good. Well, I think it's a great idea, and I certainly think that if we can create some kind of community event around it, and I'm willing to help support that and help make it happen, because if we can, as with many of our committees, we need to start bringing some younger people in who are willing to do the work and are willing to work alongside us so that we can be passing these things on and have them keep going so that the legacy stays. So, thank you.
Well, there's a lot to learn over there, you know,
Yeah.
ecologically and historically.
Yeah, there's a lot.
And
lot.
physically, you know.
Yeah,
So-
okay. So if I can get a motion to approve, I'm gonna say, you're saying 34, I'm gonna bump it to, up to 35,000, so that if there's taxes or who knows.
We don't pay taxes, but we
You
do
don't
pay
pay
for shipping.
Okay,
And so I'm not sure we're going to be buying this, but shipping
Okay.
can be,
so do we think up to 35 is good, up to 36?
Hold on one.
And is procurement an issue? But it's under 50K, right?
Well, I mean, Jen can work with them to handle the procurement, but
Okay.
also, Carl, you might want to consider like a service contract. That might be an extra.
well, that was my argument for buying a new one
New one.
versus a used one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and that might cost a little extra too.
okay.
So,
But could that
Do you
come out
want
of the
to
other
put a
account?
not to exceed something,
Yeah,
Yolanda?
Well, that's
and
what I'm
then-
saying. I was saying up to 35 or 36, but if we think up to 40K, would that be,
How about not to exceed 40, but we'll try to keep
okay.
Try to keep it
okay.
in-
So not to, okay,
in
Yep,
the
not to
area
exceed
that I
40K.
suggested.
okay. I make a motion that we approve the purchase of a baler not to exceed $40,000.
And
Second.
would that also include a service contract?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
So if we could
Yeah.
have that in the motion?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of allowing the purchase?
All right.
Aye.
Great, passes 5-0. Thank you for coming and explaining. I think
Yeah.
it's good for us, it's good for the public, and lets people know what's going on over there.
Great.
Happy baling, happy
Yes.
happy
Okay.
haying, I guess.
Happy haying.
Happy
Okay.
haying.
Thank you
Happy
very
days in the hay.
Thank you both. Great. So cool. Okay. Moving on, our annual license renewals. Please note that we need to use the one that was on the table, not the one that we received in the packet, because there was one company left off that is now on there. So we've learned that because it's on our agenda, we don't have to read them all. So we could. Oh, we've sat here, yes. So if I can get a motion to approve all the annual license renewals as noted on our agenda.
Do you know which one was?
Clover Road was added. It was not there before, and it was added.
Okay. I do have a question that I would like at some point, and it won't affect the outcome of the vote, but we have a lot of Class 2 licenses that are being done over.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, if we could get a copy of the number of vehicles each one of those Class 2s is allowed to sell, because that's a pet peeve of mine, and when I drive around town, I see more, or it looks like there are more vehicles that are out there than.
Then what their permits
their
are.
permit.
We should be able to get that, yeah.
Okay. That would be helpful, and
Okay.
I actually have a question too. It just kind of occurred to me as I was going through this. So we had approved a specific license for the Warren Conference Center, like it was an all-premises license?
Yep.
it's a liquor license.
Right.
That was a liquor license,
But is
yes.
that different? So the way that this
Yes.
is listed, it says all alcohol, it's considered an all-alcohol restaurant, but it's not premises? Like, I didn't know if there was this, if there should have been a
If it's a
separate.
different, if it's a different license, is that what you're?
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that, Brandy.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
I'm just
That would be
wondering.
Flick, right? Is that Flick?
Well, so we had done the whole premises license for it, including Henry's Place, including the actual conference center and stuff. I just don't know if
believe
it's
because,
covered.
and we might have to get a review of this, because we've extended all alcohol restaurant licenses to include their outdoor area. I think because we've said full premises, that would be covered under the all alcohol restaurant.
Yeah, but if I remember correctly, like when you've extended it to an outdoor area, they still have to designate what that area is.
Correct.
But I think the all-premises
But
license was allowed.
we're not
within-
reviewing that or changing that
It was
with
different.
this license.
Correct.
Right? So we had to do the premise, and I think it's a similar.
Separate license.
I think it's a separate license, but it's
Yeah.
a similar idea.
Right, but it's not listed. That's what I
Yeah.
mean.
Oh,
So,
I see what
like,
you're
So it's just not listed as a separate
Right,
entity.
right.
So that's
So
why
we
I'm
need
just
to
asking.
figure out if
Could
the
we
all-alcohol
approve it?
restaurant.
Approve all but Flick until we find that out. The
Or
only
just approve that separately, and can we, or
Do you want to do it, so do you want to go ahead and approve the list that you have as presented?
and then
go
add
ahead
the all
and-
premise.
Do one for all premises, like a
Does that
belt and
make sense?
suspenders kind of approach?
yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
I think that's,
Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, so I've made a motion to approve the list as presented. Yeah, I need a second. Second, okay. Any other discussion? And then we'll take that separately.
okay, sounds good.
Any other discussion? No? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? Okay, that passes 5-0. And then I move that we approve the all-premises license for Flick DBA, the Warren Conference Center and Inn, and Henry's Place.
I'll second that.
Great.
Yep.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So that should cover it, and just have, and then follow up and have Susan give us a listing of the Class 2 licenses and the number of cars per license.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if there's anything that we can do to, you know, keep them all in line. I don't think there's a penalty.
Well, they just wouldn't be in
Well,
compliance with
They
their
wouldn't be
just
in
have to stay in
compliance,
compliance.
and then we could look at it, and then next year, we could say, look, you need to be in compliance before we reapprove it.
Reapprove it, okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. I'm not trying to knock anybody out of business, but, you
No.
know.
Well, no, but you want them to be in compliance with what
compliance,
you've
correct.
approved.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Moving on, special town meeting recap, Michael.
Sure. Gosh, it was what, 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks? I don't know. I mean, this holiday
weeks
really
ago.
kind of threw me off.
2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks.
But yeah, so we did have a special town meeting 2 weeks ago. Ended up having 246 voters in attendance. And I thought it was a good discussion on the articles that we discussed. Everything passed. I think notably the MBTA zoning bylaw passed. It was really nice to see a lot of the residents that got up and spoke express their support for it and acknowledge the work that was done by Joe, yourself, and Tricia, and Peter, and Alvaro, you know, members of the working group. And so I thought that was very, very nice. It was also nice to see that a lot of people stayed for the purchase of land from the Southern New England Conference of Churches, which I was asking Yolanda, I'm not sure how many people have had a chance, how many of you had a chance to go look at the property, but it's a very nice property, beautiful property. So we're working on the purchase and sale. So town meeting gave you the ability to execute that purchase and sale. So we're working on that. It's looking like it's going to be mid to late January. You're also going to need to basically approve the bones of a conservation restriction. Usually what happens is you go ahead and we'll take ownership of the property and then work with the conservation restriction holder to do the CR work, and so that has a whole process that goes through the state. Basically, you'll have the bones of one that you'll need to approve, and that's so that SVT, Sudbury Valley trustees, who is going to hold the restriction, can actually bring cash to the table when we go and close, because they're going to contribute $250,000. So, again, very nice to see that. All the other articles passed except for the blight bylaw. Had some good discussion. I was a little bit disappointed with Adam, sorry. I was a little bit disappointed with the way kind of the moderator managed that conversation. I wanted to have an opportunity to address some of the comments and questions that were made. We didn't necessarily get to do that, but our intention is to take that feedback that we did get, maybe put together like a small group of people who had expressed some concern, basically work on it, revise it, bring it back to town meeting. Either in the May or fall town meeting, because I do think it's important, but people obviously had some concerns. So, but yeah, thanks to everybody who worked to put a town meeting together. Obviously select board plays a role, FinCom, school committee, planning board, but then also, Adam as the moderator, Jen, Cindy, Paul, so many people play a big role in that. So, yeah. Good town meeting.
Member thoughts or comments on the town meeting? No?
Just thankful to the 200 foot, oh, that's right, 1 foot, 1 foot rule, sorry.
246. Joe.
246 residents came out, and that's not bad. Not bad for a special town meeting.
And
you
it
know,
looked
so-
like people used the babysitting.
Yes.
Oh, that's good. That was going to be my next question,
They
had they.
That was
oh,
nice to
good.
see. I think
Nice.
that's a great thing that we're offering,
awesome.
and it's nice to see people using it.
That's very good.
Yeah, I would, let's see, I was on a panel last year. I think it was for Leadership Metro West, and we were talking about different things. But anyway, I brought up the fact that we do babysitting at town meeting. These people were floored. They were like, wait, you do that? It's like, yeah, doesn't everybody
Want
know?
people to come.
You know?
I don't think that everyone does it yet.
No, they don't apparently. So, So thank you to Kelly, and who else helped with that? We had
Courtney help.
Yeah, Courtney helped as
Nice.
well, so it was nice. You know, next town meeting, if you see me disappear, I might be over
You might
there.
be over playing with the kids versus being at town meeting. Okay. Good, well, thank you for that. Next is the update on the board and committee review process. So this is a subcommittee that Makita and I have been working on. We've met once, and it was good for me to have to take Makita through the process. And of course, it was great to hear Makita's thoughts on it. And our next step is this coming Saturday, we have reached out to the chairs of the committees that we appoint because we want to see what is their process for reviewing candidates. So we've reached out and have asked them, and we have probably about 8 or so people coming this Saturday, and then we'll report back from there and decide on next steps. If you want to add to that, Makita.
Yeah, for like the subcommittee update, I don't know what else to call it. Yeah, I think it's, I'm looking forward to that. I think it's important that we, make sure that we get some alignment in some of our practices and make sure that folks can also kind of share some of those best practices and some of those things that are working and some of those things that are not working so that we can really optimize the processes around this. So looking forward to the meeting on Saturday. And thank you, Yolanda, for fielding all of my questions.
It's always good to review. Okay, next we're moving into reviewing the upcoming select board schedule. It was in your packet. As we said, this is our last official meeting. We might stick one more in, but we'll let you people know. We have 2 in January. No, I'm sorry. We have 1 in January because we are not meeting on January 1st, but we will meet January 15th. We have the 5th and 19th in February, the 5th and 19th in March, the 2nd and 16th in April. We have the 7th, which will be town meeting in May, and then town election on May 20th, and a board meeting on May 21st, and then June 4th and 16th. So pretty straightforward. As we said, if we need to add anything, we'll let people know. And if you need to miss a meeting, we understand. Life happens. But that's just, I wanted to get those out there so we knew and the public knew.
I'll be missing the 19th of February.
Okay. Understandable. Okay. Next, announce the names of the people who are running with. Oh, no, I checked it off. Discuss potential changes to BAA and community grant program. So there was a red line in your package, and then it was combined in regards to the changes. Brandy, I'm going to have you take you through us because you're the one who did this. It looks really good.
Yep.
I
So
like the changes.
So basically, when Claudia and I met to go do the fall grant round, there was one applicant that who was a local business that applied for a select board community grant, which we discussed it, and the purpose of the grant program is really to provide funding for organizations that are Ashland organizations, that are nonprofit organizations. There are, we have our business incentive program for our businesses here in Ashland. And so that was the only grant that we did not fully fund. And so as we were talking about it, it wasn't in our policy to specifically say, for a nonprofit organization. So I basically made 2 major changes to the policy that we have. One, that two things. One is that it must be a nonprofit for either to apply for the BAA grant, but the nonprofit is kind of understood because it has to be a 501c3, but also for the select board community grant that it has to be a nonprofit organization. And then the only other change I made was that specifically that applicants must either be Ashland residents or proposing a use of the funds that would benefit the Ashland community at large, because it makes sense. I think that's how we've always used the funds, but just an opportunity to kind of just put that into the policy. And then the rest of the red line is really just cleaning up, because when we did this initial proposal back in September of 2023, it was changing the funding amount, and so now I just used it as a way to just clean up that language and incorporate it into the actual policy, what our actual policy is. So that is,
Now,
All the
our
changes.
select board policy is to change a policy and then wait to the next minute to vote it. I think because we've already made one change and this is just cleaning up the language, do we want to recognize that process, or do we want to update this now and approve it now?
Is that process a policy, or is it just standard practice, or?
I believe it is a policy, and that's how we've done it, but we've also sometimes, not that, well,
yeah. We don't have on our agenda that we were voting on it
okay,
tonight,
so it's just a review of it, okay,
just a
and then
review.
we'll vote it at the next, okay.
so, but does
So
it,
if you have any questions or comments or feedback or changes, or we can discuss that, and then we'll put it on the next agenda to vote it. And vote the changes.
Sounds good to me.
I have a question, and maybe I didn't catch this, but the 501c3, you said local groups with 501c3 status. And we just, I just want to make sure, is it clear that it's just for local groups for 501c3?
I think it says you have to live in Ashland or have a,
Either
Okay,
Ashland
so-
resident or
or
support
Ashland resident.
programs
In
in
Ashland.
Ashland that impact Ashland residents.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I think that covers it. I'm just trying to
yeah.
make sure that.
wrap your brain around it, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Just making sure that the intent is actually, I'm not missing anything. Thanks.
Yep.
No, I think the changes are good. It
Yeah,
makes it a
they're
much
good.
clearer policy, much clearer than it was years ago, and we keep tweaking this, so that's a good thing. Okay. If you have any other comments or concerns, make sure you get them to Brandy, and then we'll have any other updates. But as I said, we'll vote this at our next meeting. Great. Okay, now we get to do the next part. To announce the names of those running the 2025 Boston Marathon for the town of Ashland. This is fun. This is a great part.
How many do we have total?
2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 15.
How many can we have?
So we have 25 bibs.
But we didn't have,
No, what we do is 10 of our bibs go to an organization.
that's it. I knew there was
that,
something.
that they've
yeah.
they've been getting 10 for many years.
Wait list, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And then when I saw this, I'm like, wait a second.
We have
That's
a
what
long
it
wait
is.
list
We
this
do have-
time.
We do, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like it's become much more popular. And
Yeah,
more,
no,
mean,
I-
other years we've been fortunate to fill our numbers, but I think more and more people are willing to run for charity and help raise funds. So
Yeah, no,
Boston
have-
qualifier keeps getting.
a family member who wanted in, and I said, no, it's closed, too bad. And
Yeah.
so, and then I was like, wait a second, how come we only have 15? After I
Yeah.
told her that she could
yep.
she
So-
could run for the Y, so that's fine.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. So Thalita Abreu, Maggie Campion,
Maggie ran last year.
yep, Joanne Forrest,
Yeah,
who is a
she's
kindergarten teacher. That's fun.
Yep,
Thomas Goss,
yep.
Nick Howes, Makita Keegan,
Yeah, ooh.
our own select board member, is running. Thank you. And Telio Keegan, is that related to you? No,
No relation.
just has the same last name.
It's a great last name.
It is. That is. Christian Navarro, who I believe his wife
Yeah, Becca.
Becca
Yeah.
ran last year. Siobhan O'Reilly, Bernice Resnick, Allison and Michelle Rose, two sisters. Allison used to work at WACA-TV, and they've lived in town with their parents, so that's fun to see both of them running. Benjamin Savage, Michaela Terabasi, and Isha Yadav. So their goal is to raise $3,000. So, and that's the funds that come back to supply our BAA grants. And So if you know any of them, they're probably going to be hitting you up for some money to help support and help them get to their $3,000 fundraising. So thank you to all of them for willing to run, and those of you who are willing to help support them with their fundraising would be greatly appreciated. And Makita, thank you for running. Are you excited?
I'm pretty excited. I was pretty psyched when I heard my name came up because like folks should know that it's a lottery process.
Yes,
so
it's a lottery. Yes,
it is a lottery process. So I don't think we have
You didn't
like
have any special pull?
I had
She had no special pull.
Actually, from what I understand, I think I may have been on the wait list, and someone had to actually drop out, and then they did another drawing, and I was on the.
Oh, that's
so
how you got in?
That yeah. So
Yeah,
So,
I withdrew at the last moment. I guess.
I'm sorry to hear that, Joe.
You were
Sorry to hear
gonna
about that.
you were gonna run. You were listed.
No, but it's a great honor for the town to be able to do this, and I echo your sentiments, Madam Chair. I think if folks know of any runners, who approach them, please support them, support us, because when you support us, you support the town and all the incredible things that we can do from the proceeds from your generosity. So, again, great honor, and looking forward.
Great. We look forward to seeing you out there.
We'll be waiting.
Yep.
We'll probably be seeing you out there in the next few months.
Yeah, we'll be seeing you.
Training has already begun.
I'm sure.
Oh,
it
So
course.
I'm sure you all have already seen me out there.
Great. Next thing is we have a bunch of reminders. The holiday stroll is Saturday, December 7th, from noon to 4. It is sounding to be like such an exciting event. Come to downtown. There's all kinds of stuff to do. Also on the same day is the tree lighting at Green Square. Starting from 4 to 5, there'll be hot chocolate and cookies and all kinds of fun stuff. And the Ashland Santa Parade continues. Joe, I hear you have some insight on that. Would you like to give us a little more information on the Santa Parade?
I have from good, I'm sorry. I have from good authorities that the new route has been planned,
Okay.
and it looks like it may be maybe an hour or two.
So shorter.
It's a little shorter.
Okay.
Over the years, I know that the Santa and his elves were a little chilly when.
And
So we talking,
and if someone wants to go see this Santa Parade
Yep.
through town, where can they find the
I-
route?
I would hope, I just got it emailed to me this afternoon from Chief Roby, because they're the
They're
co-directors.
working with Santa to
They're working-
organize?
yeah, to organize
Okay.
everything. So I know that's gonna start around 4:15.
Okay.
and then is Santa coming to,
And Santa will be
arriving downtown
for the tree lighting
after?
ceremony. Yeah,
And he'll, not after the parade.
Not after the
On
parade.
Sunday. He'll be there, Santa will be there at the corner spot.
Santa will be at the tree lighting ceremony.
Okay.
At-
And then leave.
But, and then,
And then leave from there.
No, it's the next
it's
day.
two different, it's
Oh,
two different.
The,
two
the
different-
tree
right.
lighting is
Yeah.
Saturday.
Right.
And the
I
Santa
was
parade is
confused.
Sunday.
Okay.
It's two different things, two
I'm
different
sorry.
days, yeah.
I was confused. I was thinking that Santa was leaving directly from the tree lighting to go on
Ah.
parade. So,
No, because it would be fair for the kids not, if they were waiting to see him, and so.
And it's too much for Santa to do that, followed by the parade.
You know, we can't expect Santa to
It's a
spend
lot-
that
it's a
much
lot
time
for
in one
Santa.
day in Ashland, so.
The
Wonderful.
first time, I can tell you, the first time that this was ever tried, it lasted 7.5 hours.
It was COVID in yeah?
It was,
Remember every
yeah,
street.
Goes by my
We-
house.
it went by everybody's house.
Yeah, well,
It did
7.5
not go
hours.
by our house,
I
unfortunately,
remember seeing
No, I'm
video.
sorry.
because it goes Elliott and then it goes Fruit.
Yeah, it never,
And we're
it
right
never
in
went down,
between
it
those
never
two,
went down
so-
to Elliott and
Were you,
Prospect.
were you a naughty girl?
That must have been it.
There you have it.
There you have it.
I remember WACA had a live stream
Oh, yeah.
of Santa,
And people
and you
like
could literally see Santa freezing. And,
Before your eyes.
yeah, it was like
Yeah, that was a cold
I
one.
felt bad for Santa. It's the only
Okay.
time I did
No,
feel
you
bad
didn't.
for
And
him.
the escort was like going like so fast.
They were
It's kind of
hauling.
like training for Christmas Eve, really.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
I just told him to suck it up and come on.
Okay, moving on. We were notified of rate changes by Xfinity. They are becoming effective December 20th. So you should have received, if you are an Xfinity customer, you should have received something in the mail. Go check out their websites. It was interesting, some of the programs that they're dropping versus what they're keeping. So go check it out so you're not surprised on December 20th. Next, information on some holiday closings. So the town offices will be closing at noon on Tuesday, December 24th, and they will remain closed for Christmas Day on December 25th. Additionally, town offices will close Tuesday, December 31st at noon and remain closed on Wednesday, January 1st. So Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve day, the town offices will be closing at noon so that our folks can go and celebrate with their families.
School has a extended
Schools have 2 weeks.
2 weeks, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, they're off, whatever that Friday is before.
The
So that's their
21st, the
final day.
20th. Yep,
And then they, I think it's the 20th
yep.
is the last day of school. And then they return to school on Monday, January 6th.
Six.
Yeah.
So the last time we did that was when we opened the new high school.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
yeah, I remember.
And we
I
did
remember.
it in part.
On
that-
purpose so that they had
Yeah,
more
it happened
time.
again, it fell
Right.
on a Wednesday, and it
Yep.
was convenient to take, but I remember we went just down the Cape that week after everybody else was back in school, and we only saw Ashland families. It was fun.
Yeah. Two more reminders. The Citizens Academy program will begin in January of 2025. This is a 10-week program that meets on the second and fourth Wednesday of each month, so opposite our select board meetings, from 6 to 8. And if you are interested in participating, please go to the town website and fill out an application. It's a great way to find out how things work here in town. We try to choose people who might not have been involved or on committees before. So think about that if you're new to town and want to find out how things work. The last reminder is a textile clothing recycling. You have to schedule them yourself with Simple Recycling at 1-866-835-5068 or simplerecycling.com. A reminder that the yellow bins that you see in different places around town are not places for your mattresses or your boxes. If you are putting things at those yellow bins, they need to go inside the yellow bins. Okay, next, consent agenda. If I can get a motion to accept our consent agenda as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda?
Aye.
Aye.
Wonderful.
We have a new assessor?
We do.
Yep.
Yay.
Yay.
Yeah. Experienced assessor. So
that's
we're
good.
excited. Obviously, it's been a long haul.
Town manager report.
Oh boy, where to start? I got a lot. Some on here, some are not on here right now. But yeah, so I'll just start with the priority project update. So the Warren Barn, if you recall, they're going to do a temporary rink, and they're looking at starting that work tomorrow. So weather permitting, it is looking a little dicey tomorrow. Actually, it's a perfect time to install a rink, right?
So they've been doing some leveling and
Yeah.
some work to present it.
So yeah, that's going to be a great amenity for the town.
Yeah, nice.
So downtown, 102 Property Maintenance, that's the contractor. They're still doing work on Front Street. They were over at Ashland Lumber today. They actually hit. I don't know if I told you this at the last meeting, but they have uncovered, or they have dug. They've just found some crazy things. Let's just put it that way. Digging. Nothing toxic. Let's just be clear.
How crazy? And are we
Well,
collecting
stumps.
these things?
Yeah.
Oh, stumps. Okay, that's not
well.
that
That's
crazy.
one thing. Yeah. Well, where they are is kind of crazy. I was like, did Fafford build this building? Sorry, that was not.
So other than stumps, what kind of
So, an axle, I think a car axle was
Okay.
in between Santander and Talbot or Blush.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. And they've
bodies,
also
no, you know.
no bodies.
Bones. Okay,
No
good.
bodies. Nope. No, this isn't the tree.
Ooh,
Sorry, had to say it. And
too soon. Too soon.
And so they've also started doing their work at Montenegro Square, which was leveling that out.
Okay.
So that's moving along. We have our meeting tomorrow. So I've got some good news on Pond Street. So I have not confirmed this, but I did get, receive notice that the poles have been removed over at the Algonquin intersection, and the lights they're going to go on flash. And so they'll be able to open up that dedicated turning lane. So if you recall when we were talking about it pretty heavily, I mean, getting that fixed unlocks a lot of other work that needs to be done, like with the culvert and stuff. So that's good news. We're happy about that. Jen, do you just want to give an update on the Collins Center project?
So we're still working with the Collins Center on the organizational assessment and study. So they've done interviews with all our department heads, and they start to compile some recommendations. We've asked them to do a little bit deeper dive with some data analysis with 3 different communities. So we're sort of looking at similar communities, some that have a higher tax rate, similar and then lower, and just sort of see if we're looking at the types of services that those communities are receiving with their staff, and that way we can do a decent comparison. I think we all talked about, it's hard to sort of frame some of the conversations we're having without some context and some comparisons. And so we were hoping that their report would be done by the end of this calendar year, but us asking them to sort of do a deeper dive is going to extend it through March. And really, they've only done sort of our general government and DPW. We haven't done police and fire. That's a second phase. They're going to sort of restart that phase and use a little bit different benchmarks for that. And so, hopefully we'll have that by probably May or June, July next year. So as we start the fiscal year, at least we have it as it won't be as part of this budget process, which is what we were kind of hoping for.
Yeah.
But we think it's important to have the right data as opposed to sort of having something that's not quite as useful. So working with them on that, and we will keep you posted as we get the data.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my question, was regarding the budget cycle, and sort of like what would be the plan for this upcoming cycle? Are we going to try to do what we've done the last couple years, which is, what we've been involved the last couple years? I know you guys have been involved many more years than us with the department heads. But, I was saying to Makita and I were talking about this, and I was telling her that that meeting that you guys have and you invite the board to, I think it's really helpful for us to kind of hear the discussions and what the requests are and what the asks.
Yeah, we'll plan on doing that again. So the budgets are due on December 20th into Brittany, and so we'll, once that's put together, we'll start compiling it, putting together the requests. We'll look at what the budget looks like with all the requests in. Then we'll have that meeting in January. We'll also look at having a tri-board meeting, I think, in January or February. I know we were thinking about it this fall, but it made sense to kind of push it off. So, yeah, I will say, we won't have that Collins Center assessment done in time for this budget cycle. We'll have to talk about how we want to handle, the budget for FY26, if we want to do something similar to what we did this current year, which is use one-time funds to kind of get us through. But eventually that train hits up and
Can't keep doing one-time funds.
Yeah, ends up. Gosh, I can't believe. I have evolved.
Yeah.
Gosh, I used to not be. Rob Shearer would be proud. He was always pushing me to use one-time funds for stuff. But yeah, so the plan is to have those discussions still. And then the technology upgrades, we're looking at doing that in early January. We're just trying to find a time when it can happen, when it's not going to impair any meetings. So we're looking at that. So looking at, also taking the seal off as part of that. One thing that has changed is that the original size TV that Paul was looking at getting, it's not available in like an industrial grade. So we're actually looking at a little bit bigger, nothing major. I think going from like 88 to 95 or something to that effect. So, we're gonna have a lot of TVs here. It's gonna be
So the idea is that the screen and the projector go away? And we
Correct.
just use it, okay,
correct. So we'll have a TV here. We'll have 2 TVs here.
okay.
So people in the back would be able to see as well if they
Okay,
have a
so
hard
where
time
that
seeing
picture
it.
is in that sconce, or,
Exactly.
okay.
And then we'll actually have this TV in the here.
Yep.
Usually it's angled towards us.
Yes,
It'll be a little bit bigger, so
okay.
you'll be able
But
to
still
see.
angled toward us, so that,
Yeah.
okay, good.
So yeah, we're happy about that, and it looks like the WACA board is all on
Okay,
board
Good.
with this. So
Okay.
yeah, so that's exciting.
Can I ask one other question with that? So, because it's going to be a TV and not a projector, will WACA, when they are showing what's being presented, will it be kind of like a direct, I don't want to say a direct feed, but like not have to be camera on a screen per se, but more like a real direct, I guess, I guess.
they already do.
Yeah,
I think when we are sharing something,
because of Zoom?
because it's through Zoom.
Okay,
Yeah.
Right, so when we see it here on the screen, that's what people see on TV.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
the Zoom feed is
That won't change.
live,
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. I was just thinking through, like, maybe like it would be a better, like just a better experience for
Very
people at
experienced.
home.
I
Yeah.
think it will be. They're also going to upgrade that equipment in the back
Yeah.
as well. And I know everybody's going to be happy to hear this, but we're actually just going to get a separate camera for the podium, so when people are speaking there,
Oh,
we
so
don't
they
have
don't
to use
the laptop?
we don't have to use the up nose
Yeah,
type
yeah,
of
or
feature.
if people are tall, you like,
You
Yeah.
gotta have like half their head, yeah.
Yeah.
nice.
Or short. and you don't
Or
see
short.
Half their head, I'm with you. So,
That's
yeah. So,
Okay.
All good.
Why wouldn't they be doing it toward the end of December? I mean, that's when things are quiet and,
I don't think they can get the contractors in
Oh,
at
okay,
time
okay.
because we'll have to get an electrician in to do some
okay.
work. And everything,
Okay.
So
and what are we doing with the projector and the screen, and is there a need for them or use for them?
I think I had mentioned it, like, I don't think we can use it at the community center, at least the projector, because I think the projector we have is newer there. But we could potentially use the screen because I think the screen is bigger. I just don't know where you'd
Do
mount
any
it.
of the schools need? Like, does Warren have a
Well,
projector?
Mendez better not need it.
Well,
so-
Mendez shouldn't, and I know there's a projector at the high school. Is there a projector at the Warren school? 'Cause if not,
Yeah,
or,
Paul would.
there are projectors
Yeah.
at the library, yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
I'm sure Paul has a good.
Oh, is there?
I don't know that this is better
Right.
or worse, or.
It's a, it's a.
What about downstairs?
We're actually going to get some equipment downstairs, but that's actually not through WACA. That's going to be through our IT department, but nothing as elaborate as this.
Well, and it'll be, I would think it's some kind of TV, right? So you can do Zoom right on that versus a projector.
Yeah, which would have been helpful for that overflow. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we don't have to go through the projector.
Yep.
And we will probably reuse some of this equipment. So, there's a TV down on the first floor. I don't think it's hardly ever on. We'll probably put that back on.
Oh, good.
And run different announcements. There's a couple of other ideas that some people have. That'd
Perfect.
be
Great.
good.
Good, good. And then you have an update on the holiday stroll, or just?
Yeah, just just remind everybody it's coming up on Saturday. Yeah, it's supposed to be chilly. Starts at noon, I believe. Well, technically it starts at noon. Tree lighting, I believe, is at 4:30, and as we've talked about. So, yeah, Santa will be coming around the mountain.
And I believe Mrs. Santa will be at the corner spot doing some activities with kids and all kinds of fun stuff going on.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I know, right? So it's but it's great. It's just really.
I think it's the fact that it's Mrs. Santa doing the activities and Santa just has to sit there.
Mrs. Santa will have the warmer, like the
Yeah.
the warm things. But for those of you that are watching, if you are watching, and you haven't been here, so like town hall gets turned into like a bazaar.
Yes.
It's
Lots of shopping.
it's really nice to see town hall kind of being used for like civic functions,
Yep.
not necessarily just government functions, but
Yep.
um,
Yeah, so
like
town
kind of the way it
hall.
used to be.
Where we're sitting right now, this used to be the stage area.
And the whole thing used to be open.
I said that to people, because if you go to Holliston Town Hall, they
Is it
still
very
have
same?
their stage and their space and their performance space. Should go check it out sometime. It's beautiful. But
I was gonna
But
say, I was
they-
here, my brothers were.
but they
in the-
used to
Soapbox
this
Derby.
town hall used to look just like Holliston's.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's been probably the
Not anymore.
70s, or was it just with the reno?
Here?
Yeah.
The stage is.
Well,
the
the
one?
bit like the more modern reno was 2005. I don't know
Right.
if they changed it before.
But I think the stage was gone before then already, right? Before 2005?
It was, right? I remember, because I remember watching select board meetings on cable back in '03, and I don't remember a stage.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
The early 60s.
Mark, there you go.
Okay.
Early 60s.
Well.
That it was gone?
It was still here. in the
Yeah, it was
50s.
still
Oh,
here.
okay, okay,
Still here.
okay.
Did they
We'll have to
dances?
ask Cliff Wilson when the stage
Did
was.
you have any of the dances there?
No, I wasn't,
Okay.
I just came for the soapbox derby with my brothers, that's it. I wasn't dating an Ashland boy in those days, come on.
Pardon me.
That was later.
Oh, what comes out at a meeting. Anyway, wow. Is that everything, Michael? Did you have anything else? I know.
Could I ask
know.
one other question before we, just because this is our last meeting in December, we have our sewer moratorium, right? Is there, I know we're still kind of waiting on some data. Is there a sense, I know, do you want to talk about it a little bit and what the plan might be?
Yeah, so I mean, it's scheduled to expire on December 31st. I don't necessarily see anything kind of imminent that's going to require us to put it back on. Again, I think some of the limitations that are already there are, you don't need a moratorium for that. They're already kind of based in the IMA, and which again is just such an interesting I don't want to say conundrum, but yeah, it's just it's unique. I guess that's probably the best way to say it.
Add to Brandy's question to you, have we heard anything from Framingham about the possibilities of their increasing their fees?
No, so just as a reminder, so the way it's essentially a formula, and so we pay a percentage of, so whatever percentage that we use, like the flow.
The total flow, okay.
Exactly.
All
We
right.
pay that percentage. And so it's keyed to their rate. So if they do increase rates, obviously there would be an increased cost for the same amount of flow. And then there's also kind of a built-in charge, and I don't remember it right off the top of my head, for capital improvements as well. And I don't remember exactly what that number is.
Okay.
What that figure is.
Is there a fail-safe so that we can make sure that we're not being overcharged by Framingham for these upgrades and potential, you know?
Yeah, I think the best, probably the best fail-safe, Joe, is to make sure that the meters that we have are
Are accurate?
are accurate, they're newer, they're
Okay.
working properly.
Okay,
And that's one of the reasons why it's taken a little bit longer, is that for a while there, the meters weren't working. Like, we didn't have confidence in the meters and
Right.
what they were reading. So
Okay.
yeah, that's part of the whole equation.
okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Makita,
oh, board report time.
Board reports.
Yeah, that's right. So let's see. On November 12th, I was very honored to attend the Veterans Day luncheon that was sponsored by the Police Association and Firefighters Association at the Senior Center. I saw Joe there. Just incredible afternoon celebrating those who served. Our Ashland's own Brett Walker gave some really rousing remarks. And of course, Michael was there and did a nice job too. It's just beautiful to see the community come out and support our veterans. Especially for me, coming from a military family, I'm always ready to thank those who have served. So very thankful for that invitation. It was just a really beautiful community event. That Thanksgiving farmers market was awesome. The weather was awful, but the vendors were awesome, and there was a really nice turnout. I saw a lot of folks at this table there, and then some, so another proud moment of the town. Really great to be around that. We talked about the subcommittee.
Yep.
So, but yeah, and I'm looking forward to volunteering at this Saturday's activities, and I hope everybody in town gets down here. I think this is going to be a really special afternoon for Ashland coming up. So, yeah, that's all I have.
Claudia?
Thank you, yes. And I had the really enjoyable time visiting the land that we are hopefully, about to purchase. And I know Makita was there, and what beautiful property. Truly very, yeah, it is very pristine. And I think at town meeting, one of the gentlemen addressed it with his, because I started shopping for a trail camera right away. And that he has, in all the pictures has of how many deer, how many fox, how many, it was.
Isn't there a bobcat or something?
Yeah, bobcat.
And like a bear, apparently, too?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Remember?
well, there was a bear.
Yeah.
Not so long ago,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, it's a really beautiful piece of property, so that's it. That's all
it?
I've done.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Joe?
Thank you, Makita, for reminding me about the Veterans Dinner. It was a lot of fun. A little sad, though, too, because some of the faces that I used to see, they're not there anymore. And I took account of that, and I took stock on that, and I'm just saying to myself, wow. Thank them for their service and what they did for our country as a whole. And I was glad to be there and to honor all of them. So, but it was just a little sad. But then, there he was. There's our buddy with his white suit on, Mr. Gabe. I introduced Makita to Gabe. And it was, and needless to say, that was an experience.
He's
But
still
he
pretty
is
sharp for 99.
He is sharp. Unbelievable. And he made sure that he told everybody
That he was 99.
that he was 99.
Well, rightfully so.
And
Yes.
rightfully so, absolutely.
Yes.
December 10th, we're having a traffic study committee meeting, and I will relate some of the information that we had previously to some of these folks to make sure that we get those cameras up and running, to make sure
Okay.
we have, legitimate information
Great.
to go that route. And other than that, I look forward to seeing everybody this weekend. Hopefully it'll turn out nice and no rain. We get a little bit of snow, that's all right too, but no snow is even better.
Can I just
But,
add one
sure.
thing? I just want to mention that today and tomorrow were the holiday
Program.
program, the collection times, and
Yep.
so, and I just want to, I've seen how some of the inner workings, and it's just really powerful to see so many people in our community come out to help others,
Yep.
because at the same time, it's also, very sad sometimes to think about all the people in our community who struggle to give their families certain, celebrations that some of us sometimes,
Take for granted.
take for granted.
Yeah.
And, but, really just very, very powerful
Yep.
to see people, helping and caring about others, so I just
Claudia,
wanted to.
this year we were able to, I talked to Courtney at the end of the day. So we have about 120 families. And it equates to, I think, 225 or 7 kids that the community came together. And they do a remarkable job. I mean, when you walk through the police department, the amount of, bags and
Yep.
that just keep coming in is really impressive. So I know the volunteer, this is like one of their favorite days too, because you
Oh,
get
yeah,
to see this is
absolutely.
like
Yeah.
They get to bring it all in, and it's really fun. But it's really good, but it's a lot of kids, you know?
Yeah.
A lot
It
That's
is a
great,
lot
though.
of kids.
Yeah.
You know, and to go without during the holidays is not a good thing, not for anyone. And that's why the emergency fund is always a good spot to donate monies if, you know, you're looking for a place to, you know, provide donations. The Ashland Emergency Fund helps everybody within our community, families, children alike. So you may want to entertain giving a donation on behalf of somebody who may have just passed away, or someone in remembrance of what Christmas was once like for you, and you want to pass that along to everybody else. So,
And a plug for the Lions too,
Oh.
who you know do so much for the
Yep.
community, and right now they're selling
sell their trees.
Christmas trees, and they actually donated over $500 worth of gift cards to Target. So
That's awesome.
because the program also, if people don't for whatever reason want to sponsor a child in particular or that, they also can donate filler gifts to
Gift
kind of keep
cards.
everything
Yep.
equal, and gift cards, and
Absolutely.
so
Yep.
they were very generous to do that. So if you haven't gotten a
Yep.
Christmas tree and you're so inclined to do so, then go down and get it from the
From the Lions.
Lions.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's
Ra-
about it, other
Randy?
than,
Okay, thanks. So, kind of as a kickoff to the holiday season before Saturday's stroll, if anyone is looking for something fun to do on Friday night, the Ashland Music Association and the Ashland High School Band is playing at the high school on Friday night. The Ashland Music Association is adding a winter fair to the concert. So there's like this winter fair with activities and crafts and food, starting at 6:00, and then the concert is at 7. And it's literally like my favorite band concert of the whole year, because they do like a lot of holiday movie music. So they do music from the Polar Express, they do music from Home Alone, they do like
Die Hard?
Sleigh Ride. No, but they also, and then.
Sorry.
No, I know, truly, the ultimate Christmas movie, Die Hard. But it's a lot of fun. They invite all the little kids to the front, and one of the students does a reading from the Polar Express, and so it's just like a feel good thing. And then they're having like cocoa and treats afterwards. So, and it's a free concert, so feel free. Mark, come down to the high school, see my kid in his last holiday band concert.
it's bittersweet, isn't it?
It is. It's a little bit, but mostly sweet. Not very bitter. Mostly sweet. Most of the time. So, but that's this Friday night at the high school. I think I'm also going to be attending. I don't know if you guys had seen it come through in an email. There's a future in housing in 495 through the 495 partnership, like a Metro West, which is happening. It's next Thursday, the 12th, at Gillette.
Stadium one, yeah.
So I think I'm going to go, because I think, we're talking about housing. I kind of really want to just get sort of a bigger sense of what other communities are doing and what the.
Yeah, I had wanted to go, but I can't fit that into my calendar. So if you get any materials,
Yeah.
I'd love to
Yeah.
hear back from it
Yeah.
and hear what you.
Chocolate also has programs very similar,
Okay.
and their Zoom programs, so you.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
What's good is this is specific to 495, and
Yes.
I forget who's speaking, but someone big is
So I think it's the lieutenant governor.
is Lieutenant
Yeah.
Governor. Okay, yeah.
She'll be there, but it's just a 2-hour thing. It's like 8:30 to 10:30 in the morning. So I think I'm going to take the morning off and just
Well, there
kind
you
of go see what that is all about.
Great.
And then, as has been my tradition of our last meeting in the year.
So before you read your poem,
Yep.
I'm going to give my update so we
Okay.
can end on your poem.
Okay, that works.
Okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So first, I'd like to congratulate the Ashland football team. They won their Thanksgiving game. It was the 100th meetup between Ashland and Hopkinton, and Ashland won. So congratulations.
What's what the
Yeah, we're down by.
We're down by a couple. Hopkinton has more wins than we do, but this certainly helped.
But we won this time.
Right, we won this one. We won the 100th. So update, dog park we're moving forward. We've met with Concom. They couldn't approve because we didn't have our DEP number, so hopefully we'll be getting that. We met once with planning board. We had some feedback from them. We met with design review last night. We're going back to planning board tomorrow. And then we'll have to close out with Concom. I think we're scheduled for the 18th. So fingers crossed with all that. Do we have our DEP? Okay. Then we go out for the RFP, working with the Stanton Foundation, and hopefully shoveling the ground sometime this spring. Anyway, coat drive. The Lions are also doing a coat drive. You can drop off at the Public Safety Building. They ask that they can be old, but as long as there's no rips, no tears, or stains, and they do get them cleaned. As Claudia has already said, Lions Christmas tree lot, and if you haven't got your tree yet, I will be there on Sunday from 3 to 8 selling Christmas trees if you'd like to do that. Menorah lighting. Oh, I don't drag trees. I don't even use the saw. I like point. Oh, does this one look good? Yeah. Menorah lighting. Hanukkah is later this year, so the celebration is happening on December 29th. I believe that's a Sunday, so you can enjoy that. If you are looking to have an enjoyable nutcracker, the Norwood Theater, where you'll find me December 13th, 14th, and 15th, the evening of the 13th, and then 2 performances on the 14th, 15th, and 16th. Anyway, that weekend, go to norwoodtheater.com. My role is stage manager. But my daughter, Christiana, has been invited back for their 10th anniversary, and she will be performing a role that she's performed before. We have some wonderful guest artists coming in. We actually have one of our past students who currently dances at Indianapolis Ballet is coming back, and he is bringing his professional partner from Indianapolis Ballet to the Norwood Theater. A little less expensive than Boston, free parking in Norwood, lots of fun things to do. So if you're interested, go check out norwoodtheater.com. And as of Tuesday night, that's where I'll be. That's all I have, and we will end on Brandy's poem for the year.
Okay, so this is like my summary, our year in poem form that I do sort of at the end of every year at our last board meeting.
Every year, so.
It started out as kind of a joke, and then it's really kind of turned into this thing. So I really, So anyway, without further ado, Ode to Ashland 2024. 2024 was a very busy year. We did have our share of ups and downs for all of us here. Work slowly continues on 126 as it ends its 3rd year. Everyone can't wait for MassDOT to finish it. That much is clear. Rumors flew that the state never paid. Turns out it was just the utility companies that delayed. Downtown got a new sluiceway, and it's almost done. Working on the utility connections with the old poles next to come. Housing was front and center on everyone's minds, complying with MBTA communities without putting us in a bind. A 40B application at the Mill Building took our breath away, and another over by the high school to our dismay. We fought the good fight with Mass Housing and asked them to deny. It was so disappointing when they approved their proposals and let them apply. We are moving forward with the Upper Charles Trail Plan after we received a Mass Trails grant for us to acquire the parcels of land. We received more money from Mindas from the state and investing in ozone for our water treatment plant, which could not wait. Built some beautiful sidewalks along 135 so kids can safely walk to school and the community center and use the new crosswalk. Purchased the land by the PSB from the Fafford estate and the UCC huge parcel for the town forest, which is great. Kept slogging away with the comprehensive plan in high gear. With much public outreach, we really need to finish it this year. Debated wireless radiation science and hard talks of trash, water, and sewer fees. Frequent donation bin updates. Will they stay? We will see. Finished phase 1 of the work on the Valentine Barn. More decisions to come, but it's safe, restored with rustic charm. The Spencer statue is built on private property for all the visitors that Ashland will see. We were thrilled as pickleball, chess, and a new Starbucks, yay, came to town. Less optimistic about the mural, it's extremely complicated, we found. Sadly said goodbye to Mozzie, it's now a new chase. Looking forward to Clover Road Taproom, finally ready to open in the old fire station place. We thanked Rob as he retired from the board and welcomed Makita with now 4 women aboard. Impressed as the historical group's cemetery cleanup began, went to Plan B for the open space and recreation plan. Held office hours at the AFM, awesome trick-or-treating in Town Hall, gave out scholarships, grants, and Dragonfly Street Fair was a ball. Launched the Citizens Academy and a new Clocktown podcast. The Blight bylaw meant well, but was less of a success. The upcoming year will see lots of new things, the Ashland Arboretum and a new meat market at the old Dairy Queen. A new Habitat for Humanity project and the EPA will be back to eliminate the last of Nyanza's contaminated impact. Much more on the new YMCA and a new dog park, we think, partnering with FSU on the new Warren Barn, complete with an ice skating rink. Anticipating a hard budget discussion for this upcoming year, tough choices may need to be made, we fear. We turn now to the holiday season. With the holiday stroll, menorah, and tree lighting, community is the reason. Santa's house will be busy, downtown will be lit, marshmallows will be roasted at the Corner Spot Fire Pit. I have so much gratitude for this town that I serve, and for the hardworking town staff, so much praise they deserve. For my fellow board members, we may not always agree, but we all know how special Ashland can be. I truly love the work that we do. We all give our hearts. That is so true. And as we approach the end of this year, I wish you and yours so much holiday cheer. The end. Woo-hoo! So, happy holidays, everybody. This is what I did on Thanksgiving weekend.
Well, Brandy, thank you. You always really bring everything together so succinctly. So thank you for that. And on that note, if I can get a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. That wraps up our meeting. As I said, this is our last meeting like this for the year. If we do have to do another one for some reasons, we'll post it. Otherwise, we will see you on January 15th because January 1st is a holiday. And as much as we love working for the town, I think we all want to take that first Wednesday off. So happy holidays. Stay safe. Hope to see you all downtown at the holiday stroll or any of the other wonderful events that are going on. Be safe and happy holidays. Thank you.